Hey guys, today we're doing a live Keys Rig tour that I've been using for the Worship Innovators Conference in Chicago, Illinois. Let's check it out. So we're using the Sunday Keys app for all the key sounds for every worship session in this conference. I prepared for 7 different sessions across 2 days. And with the Sunday Keys app, I was able to prepare using my MIDI controller at home. And then my rig is very, very simple when I get to the conference. So I'm plugged into a Nord Stage 2, but I'm just using it as a MIDI controller because all of my sounds and programming come with me when I fly in to do a conference like this. So very briefly, I'll talk you through the connections. There's a single USB-C extender cable coming out of the iPad, which is connected to a powered USB hub. The Nord is connected to that hub over a basic USB cable, and it's sending MIDI into the app, and that's what's telling the app what sounds to play. And then I'm using a PreSonus audio box audio interface in stereo on the floor, and that's running out a pair of instrument cables to the sound system. Now I want to talk a little bit more about how I've been using the app for this particular conference, because we were playing over 90 minutes of music and a bunch of songs that I had never played before, and the band made up of musicians who had mostly never played with each other before. We had one afternoon, about 2 hours, to do sound check, line check, and come together as a band, and then very little practice time before each session of the conference. So we made some audibles on the fly, changing tempos, changing keys, rearranging the orders of set lists. We just finished up the last session of the conference, and because of time requirements, we ended up needing to reorganize and cut a couple elements of the set list entirely. Thankfully, I'm able to create a specific set list for each session, and then if I have any duplicate songs across those sessions, I can just save those patches to my user library and then load them into the other sessions where they're needed as well. And there were also a couple of times where I needed to rearrange the sounds I was using on the fly. For a couple of sets, we had somebody who was leading from the piano. Now, I had programmed some piano parts, and I was able to very quickly swap out those sounds for more complementary sounds, even with just 5 or 10 minutes of sound check time before those sessions. In fact, for one session, we had no sound check time at all, but I realized in backstage time as we were getting ready to come on stage that there was going to be somebody who was sitting in on piano. So during the first song, I was able to modify my patch in real time while still sustaining ambience and pads so that that lead person from the piano had all the space and support they needed, and I was still able to enhance the mix. It's been a blast to be a part of this conference, but this is just one of 3 rigs that I want to show you today. So let's head over to the Sunday Sounds demo booth. All right, now we're here at our demo booth where we have a full 88 key Keys rig set up with the app. And this is honestly sort of the ideal configuration that we propose to churches a lot of the time. So we're using the SL88 Studio MIDI controller. If you've watched our YouTube channel for a while, you've seen us review and recommend this controller. It's a great feeling controller to play. It's got 88 weighted keys. It's relatively affordable. It runs over USB power if you want. My favorite feature, it's got this nice flat top where the iPad will magnetically mount right on here. So it looks like it was designed just for the Sunday Keys app. So other than the controller and the iPad, this rig is dead simple. There's a powered USB-C hub with the USB-C extender that's connected to the iPad, and that's how the controller tells the app what notes to play. And then also connected to that USB hub is the PreSonus audio box audio interface. We love this very simple, affordable audio interface. Recommend it to a lot of churches. It just has 2 outputs on the back. Plug instrument cables in, and you're good to go. So for our demo booth, we've got 2 powered studio monitors that you can see behind me that are producing the sound. And if you were going to implement a rig like this at your church, you would instead plug into your sound system. So the last rig I want to show you are our demo station rigs. These are really unique. They're just designed to give people an opportunity to try out the app on these small little iRig keyboards. So they're quite small. The basic setup is the same, but these are running on iPad Airs. And you might be thinking, well, maybe the iPad Air isn't powerful enough, but it's crazy how powerful these modern iPads are. In fact, new iPad Airs have the same chips in them as many iPad Pros. They're just smaller, lighter weight, And if you're on a budget, they're less expensive. The compromise is that smaller screen size. So if you're planning to use this for a long time, that touchscreen is important to you, you might consider the iPad Pro instead. Other than that, this rig is very familiar and similar to the other two. We've got a powered USB hub in the back, but there's one interesting thing I want to show you, and it's this little guy. This is a USB-A to headphone adapter. So it's basically just a very tiny, pretty, basic audio interface. And we use this plugged into the USB hub, acting as our audio output source. So this is how people can then put on these headphones and hear the output of the app, even on the loud conference showroom floor. These are really, really inexpensive. You can buy them on Amazon. I think this one's like $10. But a little bit of warning for you, it's inexpensive and it's also a little bit prone to failure. So we always keep a backup around. If you're thinking about using this for performance on stage, I think there's more reliable options, just a bit more expensive, that are really worth considering. I will tell you, this is a fantastic thing to have in your backpack if you want to be able to practice. Maybe you're setting up at home and you don't want to take your audio interface with you. Just plug this into your USB hub, plug headphones into the other end, and you're set to go.